In this video, we're going to take a look at how to create toolbars in Bootstrap. Now, in the last video, of course, we created these button groups. And basically what a toolbar is that it allows you to combine multiple groups together into one unified toolbar. So again, that is what we're going to do in this video. So let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and take this group right here that we created in the last video, and we're just going to copy this. We're going to go down here and we're going to go ahead and paste that right here. And so this will be our first button group. Then what we're going to do is all of our buttons are actually going to be primary buttons. And this works better if you have a bunch of buttons that are similar. In this case, we're just going to number the buttons, and you'll see how this looks in the end. So we're going to make these all primary buttons. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to call this 1, the first one. And we're going to call this one 2. And we're going to call this one 3. And for good measure, let's add 2 more buttons to our toolbar, and those will be 4 and 5. So let's just go ahead and copy and paste this here, and then we'll add these other numbers. Good. Now what we want to do is take this. Remember I said you're actually combining multiple groups to create your toolbar. So we're going to create a second group here. So we'll copy and paste the one we just did, and let's just copy and paste this right below. So there we go. Now let's go ahead and we'll call this button 6, because remember, this is all part of the same toolbar. This will be 7, this will be 8, and this will be 9. Let's not worry about a 10th button. We'll just go with 9 buttons. That's good. There we go. So now we've got our 2 groups right there. Now what we need to do is unify all of these into our toolbar. And so what we're going to do is create another div to wrap both of these groups inside that div. So let's go ahead and do that. And of course, we just specify div here. And the class that we're going to call is another Bootstrap class. And you won't be surprised by what the name is. It is the toolbar class. And so we just specify btn-toolbar. That's what we do. And so there we go. We've got our toolbar class. Now, in this case, we set the role to toolbar. You remember in the button groups, we set that to group. But in this case, we'll set the role now to toolbar to identify this as a toolbar. There we go. Now let's go ahead and we're going to give this an ID because we want to create some margin for this, because we've been doing that in the previous videos. We've been giving everything a margin of 5 pixels. So we'll give our toolbar also a margin of 5 pixels. And we're just going to give this an ID, and let's just call this test1. There we go. And then let's go ahead and close our div out down here. And now we've got both of our groups now wrapped within inside of our toolbar, and this should create a nice toolbar effect. But before we do that, let's go over to our style sheet and let's go ahead and add that ID that we created. We'll just copy and paste this div1 here, and we're just going to say pound test1 for the ID that we created. Good. All right, so let's save this. And let's go back to our HTML document. Let's save that. And let's go ahead now and open this up in Chrome and see what we get. There you can see we've got this nice toolbar. Take a look at how nice that looks. And again, this works well if you're using very similar buttons, as you can see here. So again, this is how you can combine multiple button groups into one toolbar. Okay, we will move on to drop-down menus in the next lecture. See you guys then.